So, in Ships at Sea, you have 3 different tiers of boats. Currently, the devs, as far as I'm aware, are working on tier 4 and 5. So, the highest end of tiers you can get are going to give you a service boat, a fishing boat, and a cargo boat. And we're going to put these boats through the ultimate test in this video. The service boat is not that great. However, the fishing boat and the cargo boat can be used not only for fishing and cargo, but you can do the fish farms as well. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to take the turbo fishing boat out and we're going to set some long lines. We're going to retrieve them and see how much money we get from them. And that's unfortunately all we can do at the moment because the production per seine fishing is not it's not actually available at the moment. So the only thing you can do on turbo is longline. And then with the Nordland, you can use a little bit of a cheese whilst they are working on fixing up the fish farms and making them more efficient. So we're going to be going and visiting a fish farm using the Nordland. And I basically want to compare fishing boat versus fish farm, which one is better for making money. So starting off with the turbo, the fishing boat, we are going to head out to sea. And in order to get this set up, you do need to go through the upgrades. You need to rig it for longline fishing. Then you need to head to the shop and buy a hook. Then you need to come to the fishery. And I'm giving this the best chance I possibly can. I've skipped ahead in time all the way until the very near the end of September because cod and halibut are in season and they're doing quite well. So what I need to do is we're going to be going for cod. I'm going to buy 50 of these just so I can fill up all of my buckets, even though we're not going to be deploying all of them in this video because it would take far too long. I just want to make sure I have enough bait on me for any point in the future. So you would need to come here, and in order to buy the 20 buckets for longline that the turbo can hold, it's going to cost you $500,000. And then you need to buy all your bait and stuff as well. It's 2.5 of these 20 kilo blocks per 1 bucket. So because you can do 20, it's 50 bait blocks in order to fill all those buckets up. And if we go to the map, we have halibut over here on the left, which is currently at 20%. But we are going to be targeting cod because it's up to 27%. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the port. I'm only going to do 2 buckets because these are 2,500 hooks. The total length you have to deploy is 2,510 meters. I'm going to say each long line takes a good, say, 5 or 6 minutes. Let's just say it takes 6 minutes and you do 20 buckets to do all 20 of your fishing gear, your 20 long lines. That is going to take 2 hours real life time to deploy all of those. So instead of doing that, we're going to class it as a max fishing trip. But what we're going to do is drop 2 buckets, retrieve them, and whatever we make at the end, we're going to multiply it by 10 to say that would be roughly around the area it would have been if we did a max fishing session, dropping all 20 long lines. And it's not just the long lines and retrieving them we need to do on this boat either. We also have to put the fish onto the bleeding table, into the bleeding box. Then we have to send them down the production line, down to be gutted underneath. Then we also need to send them through to be sorted into their species boxes. And I'm going to try my best to get 5-star gutting quality on all of them, even though I can't guarantee it. But if we get this bad boy undocked, we are going to turn around. And we've got everything on us. We've got the hook from the shop. The shop is over in that far building, literally right next to the jetty. You need to buy a hook or you can't actually go longline fishing. Then the fishery, we've got our long lines, we've got our bait. If I go to inventory quickly, you'll see that I've got, is it shrimp? I think it was shrimp we bought, right? I mean, if you're ever confused about anything regarding fishing, the help section in this game is incredible. So if we go fishing, bait, then we'll be able to see shrimp should have a high percentage for cod. Yeah, so it's 55%. So we're going to be using shrimp and cod. You'll see jigger, longline and net September to April. So it's just come into season. Then longline is going to tell you need to soak the long lines in the water for approximately 12 to 17 hours. I'm going to go 17 hours and see what happens with it. I normally go somewhere between 13 and 16. So what I'm going to do is plot us a little route on the map, and when we get down to around this sort of lighthouse area, we will be in the fish habitat, so we'll be able to start deploying our long lines. I'm just going to go straight through. You can use all the sonar and stuff if you want to, but I haven't noticed a massive difference when using it. So I'm going to do the route like that, and what I'm going to do is press P twice, go into nav mode, just so that the ship does what it needs to do, whilst we go and prep our 2 buckets we're going to be dropping. The good thing is you keep the buckets. There's number 4, and it's 3 of these per bucket. And yeah, after you've done all of your fishing, you keep all of the buckets, and the only thing you need to replace is buy in the bait again. And the good thing about this boat is if we grab our first bucket, it's actually got positioning for 2 buckets. You still have to do them separately, but you can set up 2 buckets at a time. So if we go back up to the wheel, we shouldn't be too far away now, because we are going to 15 knots. There is a sea marker there, we should avoid that. Yeah, not far to go now until we reach that lighthouse and we can actually start dropping our long lines. So I'm going to need to prepare myself to go back downstairs to those buckets and deploy the first one. And I also want to let you guys know, for those of you that haven't done much fishing or haven't done even any, when you buy your bait, like for an example, we bought shrimp, we're targeting cod, it doesn't matter too much what you're targeting. You're always going to catch multiple species. It just gives you a better chance of catching what you want, although it doesn't matter too much. And if you wanted to spend hours and hours of real life time, you could just buy a metric ton of bait, and you can stay out on the water and just keep baiting up your buckets and going again and again and again. I mean, I don't know how much the boat's inventory can carry, but I do know it's a hell of a lot. And I think even if we're not... Oh wait, no, we've literally just entered the fish habitat. I was going to say, even if we're not, I believe we're very close. So we're going to deploy our first long line. That's going to drop buoy number 1. Then what it does is on these 2500 hook buckets, it drops 3 white buoys. And it does them... I think it's around sort of like every 600 meters or something like that, because it has to go 2,510 meters. You have your starting buoy. Then you've got 3 in the middle at whatever distance is. Then you have the final red one to end the long line. We're just going to wait until that red one has been deployed. Then we're going to do a 180. We're going to come back up the exact same route, kind of close to our first one, and deploy the second line. So what I'm going to do is actually skip ahead. I will see you guys when we have deployed our second long line and we're back up at around this sort of area. And what I'll do is I'll time the second long line, and I'll get like an average sort of time it's going to take to deploy it from start to finish. So we've just finished deploying the first one. I'm going to cut the engine for a moment. Look at this. You start all the way up here. You come down to the first white buoy, then the second one, then the third one. Then we finally finished. That's one long line that we've got to set up. And that's the reason I'm not doing 20 of them. It would take me forever. But what I am going to do is get this bad boy turned around. We're going to go to maybe about there. We're just going to keep coming up. We're going to go roughly along the side of the one we've already got set out. And then maybe if I just set that as the route to finish it off. So I'm going to time this one from the moment I start deploying it. So if I go and set us up for the route, it should start turning us around. When we are almost level, well actually I'll just start deploying as soon as I get out here pretty much. So if I interact with this and I press start on the stopwatch, when this has deployed fully, I will let you guys know how long it takes per 2500 hook or 2510 meter long line. So I'll see you guys whenever. So we are closing in on the end of the long line, and I was around, I was within the ballpark sort of range of how long these actually take to deploy. So I'm going to wait until it drops and then get the final time, which should be any second. I thought autosave was the long line finishing deploying then. Any time today. Let's have a look, because I did change course just a little bit when that line has dropped. I mean, today, yeah, there we go. So, it's, like, my stopwatch is 6 minutes, 5 seconds. So, we'll say 6 minutes per long line. Times that by 20, that's 2 hours. And that's 2 full hours real life time just to deploy your long lines. And to think I was going to actually sit there and do all 20 to get the figure for this video, instead of just doing 2 and multiplying it by 10. And before anyone jumps into the comments saying, oh yeah, but it would have been a lot more accurate, the fluctuations with fish prices are crazy. You have so many different factors that come into it. The time of year, how well the habitat's doing, where you've dropped your long lines. You've got the gutting quality of your fish, how many are on your hooks. There's a lot of different factors. It's not going to be anywhere close to being the same every time. So we are just getting a ballpark figure. So doing 2 long lines and multiplying it by 10 is absolutely fine in my opinion. And if we now come over here, we're not going to start getting these straight away, as I want to kind of get my boat ready. I'm going to cut the engine there. We're going to go into first person. We're going to rest for 17 hours, just so that's the max end of the optimal time. You can do it over 17, but they recommend somewhere between 12 and 17. So I'm going to do, if I do 16.9, then it's pitch black. So this is not going to be the most fun. I mean, this is not going to be fun at all. I'm going to go a little over 17. That's another factor that plays into it as well, how long you leave them to soak. So there we go, 3 hours later. We've done 20 hours. But that's good enough for me. I can actually see what I'm doing rather than doing everything in the dark. So now that we've let them soak, we're going to go and retrieve them. I'm going to do one at a time because we need to do gutting and sorting as well. So if I just get this bad boy turned around, we can line ourselves up. You have to get them on the right hand side where that red semicircle is. So if we come over to this first boy, and you can do it either end of the long line as well, which is really, really helpful. And I mean, it'd be like if we had crew in the game, this would be a lot different because they would be able to do some of the jobs. But what we have to do is make it downstairs. We have to get our hook out by pressing 2. We have to get over to this machine and hope and pray that the boy ends up in the radius, which I don't think is going to unless the waves want to carry me a little bit. Come on, please. Just end up sliding into range. Please. Pretty please. Oh, you're so close. Oh, I'm going to have to go back up to drive. This is... these things just add more time on. For absolutely no reason. Look how close we are. I'm going to get a little bit of throttle going. Should definitely be enough now. Yeah, it's gone green. So quick, get me downstairs. Go, 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 go. And so we get our hook out. We start hauling. And on this line, we are going to have 5 hooks that all potentially have fish on. And I'm really hoping we get a good cod catch because they are in season. So please let me smack it. I've noticed this boat is a lot more difficult than the other ones to actually hit the fish. Oh, we've got an empty hook. That's a great start. I mean, the empty hook doesn't make that much of a difference as long as they're not as long as there's not 3 or 4, because we only get 5 attempts to catch fish. This is a cod, right? There we go. Smack it in the bleeding tank. You go. I'm pretty sure that was a cod. It looked quite small, but I'm pretty sure it was cod. This looks like a large pollock. And I mean, that was not the goal. I do need to smack you. Thank you very much. Go into the bleeding tank. But I believe that's the final hook. So, that's fully retracted. What we now do is we open the hatch. We send the fish down to the production line. And then if we put that away, we can drop down through this hatch here. Or we can go through this. I'll show you the stairs. The stairs are just here. So from the bleeding tank, you would just come in here, go downstairs, do a 180, come into this room. Now out the back here, we have halibut, we have pollock, we have cod, then we have mixed. So catfish, haddock, they need to go in that mixed one. But what we need to do is come to the storage box. We need to put fish on the gutting table. And this is a medium catfish. We need to gut the fish. And depending on when you guys are seeing this video, they might have upgradable knives and even upgradable hooks in the game. But that was a mixed. So this is a large haddock, which also goes mixed. So we'll do this one as well. And we're getting 5-star gutting, which is nice. That looks like another large haddock. So large is good, but it depends on how many we've caught. So get that one sent down. I like to do 4 at a time if they're all going in the same box. So cut straight along, because that is another haddock, 5-star. We put you on that top conveyor, they come through to here. We pick them up, and they are all going into the mixed species. None of them, I think, were, well, none of them are going to be cod. Unless, are you a, what are you? No, you're a pollock. Oh, so this is not what I was targeting, which is lovely for a bit of fishing. This one, I believe, is again, yeah, pollock, medium. And I'm glad we're getting 5-star gutting quality every time. But it just seems as though I'm targeting cod. That was 1-star. Ouch, that's going to lower the price. Yeah, I targeted cod, and I've caught everything but. And I definitely used the right bait. That was somehow 5-star. I'm going to leave that one there for a moment. Get all this pollock into here. So, our storage box is empty now. And when I say packed with pollock, look at the state of this. I couldn't fit any more in there if I tried. We had no halibut, no cod. The two biggest, the two most expensive in the game, caught none of them. But now if we press this big blue button, store the fish, they all leave their boxes. And that is our first long line completed. So now what we've got to do is go back up to drive the boat and go and retrieve the second one. But just very quickly before we do that, we're going to go to the boat. We're going to see we got 3 tons of haddock, 1.4 tons of catfish, and then a lot of tons of pollock. Some are 1-star gutting quality, which is going to slightly reduce the amount of money we get for them. But fingers crossed, this second line produces some cod. Because otherwise, I've come out here with shrimp bait, targeting cod, and caught nothing close to it. No big fish, besides like the large pollock. Nothing like a halibut, nothing like a cod. Which I'm going to be disappointed about, because I believe that's going to mean that this showcase is going to produce less money than what I was expecting. So let's see what we catch on this second line. I got it all lined up and everything, and we are reeling in. The first one, I think that's haddock. I'm almost certain that is. You go to the bleeding tank. I'm getting more and more disappointed. The more we reel in. Ah, that just looks like a pollock. I'm pretty sure that is like a medium pollock. Maybe even small, I'm not sure. But get to the bleeding tank. This one's going to be empty, isn't it? We've got an empty hook for the last one. I'm trying to showcase the differences between a fishing boat and a fish farm. And fishing's not, like, the boat is not going good. So you lot, just get down to the production line. I'm going to get all of these gutted and sorted. And I'll show you guys the inventory when I make it back upstairs. And I'm just going to sort the last couple of fish here. I've done all the gutting. We've got mostly 5 stars on it. And no halibut, no cod. Loads and loads of small pollock. Then a catfish and a couple of haddock. So if we store all of that, I'm actually kind of gutted with that trip. If I'm completely honest, I was expecting at least a couple of cod. Look at the map. Ready? Cod is now gone up to 28%. Oh, and look, pollock's 10%, catfish is 10%, haddock's 13%, but that's the only things we brought in. So if I just go in to drive the boat, and we just get a little route mapped out, I'm going to talk to you guys whilst we're going back to Rost. So, autopilot navigation on, and away we go. So inventory, it would seem as though I targeted pollock, which would have been, no, I was pressing 4 on my keypad. I know for certain I was using that bait, which is the one, I don't get it, but anyway, boat, and you'll see, we've got, say, we round that up to 2, then we round that up to 8, so we go 10, we just go 14, 17, then we just say that's 1. We've got 18 tons of pollock, are you joking? Nearly 6 tons of haddock, and nearly like 2.75 tons of catfish. That's all we caught though. I mean, there's nice numbers there, though not necessarily with quite a few of these pollock. Decent amount of haddock, okay amount of catfish. There are 1,750 pollock there in nearly 8 tons of the stuff. But it's weird because I was using shrimp bait. If we go help fishing bait, this is what I mean when I say everything fluctuates. We were using shrimp. Shrimp is 55, it's 5% haddock, 10% pollock, 20% catfish. But we caught no cod, it's 55%. And then fish types, cod is September to April. We're in September now, towards the end of it. So I would have thought I would have caught cod, at least got a halibut, because they're also in season 2. I mean, I don't mind, we're still going to make money, but I wanted a little bit more. I don't even know how much these are worth, but I was expecting a little bit more in terms of cod and halibut, just so I could showcase a decent haul like for this, because we are going to be comparing this to the fish farm, and I already know the results of the fish farm. A lot of you probably do. But I mean, when there's crew in the game, I'm hoping the crew have the ability to, because like from me recording this, the time I'm recording this, I think we're roughly around a month away, maybe a little over a month away from crew coming into the game. As long as development with them goes well, with the crew, I'm hoping we can have them deploy in long lines, we can have them gutting, we can have them sorting. So all we need to do, if we want to, is just drive the boat around. Because then there's no faffing around with getting out of the captain's seat and going downstairs, like baiting up your buckets, dropping them, and then like doing all of the gutting and everything. You can just carry on driving around whilst your crew are doing everything. And I mean, they are going to take cuts, but it should, as well as them taking a cut of the money, it should also take a cut out of the time you're going to be spending doing all of your fishing stuff. And especially with tier 4 and tier 5 ships eventually coming into the game, there's going to be a lot of work to do. But let's make it back to basically we're going to go dock, and we'll see how much we get for like the 18 tons of pollock we've got on board. So leaving the boat, we have docked it nicely. Another thing that's not available on this fishing boat is this crane, because you're supposed to use this crane here. If I operate it, you're supposed to have to grab your catch and bring it over to here to drop it off and sell it. But for some reason, that's not in the game at the moment either. And, like, yes, it is early access. But this boat currently only has one function, and that is longline fishing, to where you don't even have to, like, manually move your stuff. You just come to the fishery. No, it's not a problem. I'm just pointing out how the game currently works, because you're supposed to have longline and, what is it, like production per seine or something like that. It's seine net fishing. But if we go into the fishery, you're going to see we've got 454 grand. And that's why I'm disappointed, because I did this exact same haul before. Can't remember what I was targeting. I think I was targeting pollock. And I ended up catching some halibut with it. And I ended up with 700 grand. So I'm going to average it out between this haul we did, that haul we did, multiply it by 10. So if we have a look quickly, we got low on small pollock. We got lowest on large there. We got lowest on mediums. But you'll see it's all around, what, I'm going to say 10 to 25 krone per kilo. And yes, granted, we are getting a lot of it. But when it comes to halibut and cod, they're around 50 to 60 krone per kilo. You catch a lot less, but you get a lot more. And I mean, I don't know the exact working outs of all of the maths and stuff behind it. But if we, I'm going to round it up. We'll go 500,000, multiply it by 10. The ballpark figure is around 5 million for a full session. And just to deploy your long lines, it's going to take around 2 hours real life time. But if we sell all of that fish, it does put me nicely over 80 million krone again. And now switching over to the Nordland, the big tier 3 cargo boat. We're going to buy 100,000 smolt, which is going to cost us 1 million. Then fish food, I've already got some down there. So I'm just going to buy 6 of these. And then we do need to load them up. So you'll see with this, going from the fishing to the fish farm, we have our 6,000 kilo bags of food there. We do need to go and find our boat, because they park them really, really far away from the tier 3. I mean, they are massive boats. You could still fit them there. I've had them parked there before, but for some reason it just uses any of these docking areas, and sometimes they choose the ones that are really far away. Luckily, they put me with the boat facing the right way for me to back it up and get access to this crane. So what we're going to do is jump into actual crane view. I'm going to lift this bad boy up. We are going to load all 6 of these onto this gigantic cargo deck. And once these are all loaded, we're going to go down to our fish farm. Now, when it comes to the comparison between money spent in terms of like the fishing boat and the fish farm, without the cost of the boats, because the price difference is massive, the smolt costs $1 million. The fish food costs, I don't think it's that much. Well, like 16,000 per 1,000 kilos. So it takes 6,234 kilos of food to do a full life cycle on 100,000 smolt. So buying 7 bags is not too expensive. When it comes to the longline fishing, it's what is it, $500,000 for the buckets, 150 grand for the bait or something like that. So it's more expensive to start up, especially with the boat costs, because the turbo, the fishing boat, I think is around 20 something million, whereas this bad boy, the Nordland, is 64.5. It's the most expensive boat in the entire game, but it's also going to make you a lot of money. So with this last one on board, what we're going to do is leave that. We've got all how many did I buy in the end? Just 6. We've got all 6 bags on board. Let's go and drive down to our fish farm. That's another cost as well. If we go to the map quickly, the fish farms are 500,000 each. You'll see fish farm by 500,000 krone. So it does get quite expensive in this tier 3, like when you're in tier 3 with the boats and stuff. But we're going to undock. We're going to make our way down to our fish farm. So now we've made it down to the fish farm, what we're going to do is get all this offloaded. And normally with tier 1 and tier 2 boats, at this current stage of development, you would have to grab a 50 kg bag, you'd have to leave the boat, climb the ladder, plonk it in, jump down, board the boat, do the same again. However, because we have this crane on tier 3, all we have to do is grab one of our bags. So I'm going to take this one at the end, pick it up, bring it along to the feeder, and when we're hovering over the feeder, jump off the crane, leave the boat, climb up the ladder, and then we simply just take the 50 kg bags from there and feed them all in. So I'm going to get this lot fed into the system. Then we are going to let the smolt grow. I mean, it'd help if I actually put the fish in. I'll do this first bag, then I'll put the fish in the actual fish farm. So we've got the last bag now. If we jump down and we come around here, oh no, there's errors with the feeder and the net, so the engine's off. Back to where we were. That's taken a very long time to sort out. If I add the fish, we've got 100,000 fish, and I have placed all of the first bag in there, so I'm going to get these other ones loaded into the farm. So we've got the last few bags now, and what we're going to do once we have all of these put in is we are going to jump down, we're going to check the console. You'll see they're all at 1 kilo, so the first stage of distribution. We've got 7,500 kilos of food in there with a daily consumption of 300 at the moment. That goes up every single day. And as I said, it's 6,234 kilos for them to go all the way up to like 8 kilos, like max distribution, max money. So everything is working on the fish farm. All the smolt is in there, so we're going to jump on board with the engine on. Make sure you turn that feeder engine on. And what we're going to do is we're going to rest for 5 days. So 1, 2, and then if we do it again, 3, 4, and one more, 5. And now if we get off and we have a look, they are going to be at stage 7. So now we're going to do 5.8 hour increments just until they get up to stage 8. So if we rest plus sign once, 5.8 hours. So we rest, it's going to go nighttime. And if we jump off, we have a look, they're not going to quite be at stage 8. But then if we come up and we do it, I think it is one more time. I wish to get this last bit. We go 5.8 hours. Now it's absolutely pitch black. Luckily I can just see, thanks to all the work lights and everything. Okay, so yeah, it is 2 lots of 5.8 hours. So 5 full days, then 2 lots of 5.8 hours. And now they are a weight of 800,000. They're 8 kilos each. We've got 100,000 of them. They've left some food in there. And they are at their max selling price. So that is 68 million krone. So I'm going to sell them. I've gone up to 147 million. And that is all we have to do. So we turn the engine off. That is our fish farm done. So I'm just going to skip time until it's daytime so we can actually see what's going on. So if I go, I don't know, say 7 hours, there we go. It's going to be nice and getting bright outside. So when it comes to the difference between fishing boat and fish farm, the fish farm is by far the most amount of money. All in all, it's going to take you no longer than 40 to 45 minutes to do everything for the fish farm. I've actually timed it doing it myself and I've managed to get it done in half an hour. But I mean, if you want to stop for a little bit, take some pictures, if you're having if you're having a couple of issues with the crane, if the feeder breaks down or anything like that, that's why I said it's going to take no longer than like 40 to 45 minutes. But I've had it done in half an hour. And to earn 68 million in half an hour is crazy money. Because if you times that by 2, you get 136 mil. Then double it again, you get 272 million in 2 hours. In 2 hours, using a fishing boat, you're going to deploy your long lines. That's all you're going to do. So the fish farms are a ton more money. But that doesn't mean that longline fishing is awful. It doesn't mean the fishing boats are really bad, because for all I know, when seine net fishing comes into the game, that could be a game changer. But as it currently stands, fish farms are by far the best for making money. However, I'm not going to knock longline fishing out of it completely because I love it. I've been doing it since fishing North Atlantic. I've always had a lot of fun with it. It's just nowhere near as much money. In the 2 hours we would have spent, I would have made about 5 mil or something like that, compared to the 270 million I would make spending the same amount of time doing a fish farm. So they are both easy money. There's nothing difficult about running them. It's just going to be time consuming. That's going to be the only difference, and whatever you have more fun with. So that is going to do it for the video. The fish farm is by far the better way to make money, but I still have this... I still love longline fishing. But on that note, we're going to leave the video there. I will see you guys in the next one.